Hello guys, and welcome to Abu Dhabi for this Season 1 finale in this Backmarker career of mine. This is going to be a very interesting weekend for those of you who might have followed this series a little bit. Nico Rosberg, about 6 or 7 races ago, had what seemed to be a completely insurmountable lead in the championship, but Lewis Hamilton has really come back and showed some great form over the last 6 or 7 races here, closing the gap to only 23 points, meaning if Lewis Hamilton takes the win today, then Nico Rosberg needs to finish better than 4th place in order to secure the title. Anyway, to the business at hand, this is Q1. We have just finished our first lap, 147.261 on a set of option tires. This should be enough to get us into Q2, and it is. Jumping ahead to Q2, we've had some problems staying competitive in races in the Toro Rosso car. It seems to be worse on the tires than the Lotus ever was, so we're going to be starting out the race on prime tires, meaning we'll be doing 1 lap on these prime tires. Hopefully it'll be enough to get us into the shootout. If not, we'll just start wherever we end up on the grid.
We're through to the shootout.
And we do manage to squeak into the shootout here in 7th place. Nothing fancy about that, but definitely what we were looking for. What is interesting, however, is that both the Ferraris, Fernando Alonso and Kimi Raikkonen, do not make it into the shootout, and neither does Jenson Button. And jumping straight to Q3, fresh set of option tires. This is our first lap, 146.244. Better than any of our previous times that we set in Q1 and Q2, but we do stay out for 1 more lap to see if we can improve on it. And we do manage to improve on it. However, we do not advance a position on the grid, meaning we'll be starting in 5th place tomorrow. But what's more interesting is that Vettel starts on pole, his first of the season. Ricciardo's behind him, meaning the Red Bulls must be very competitive here. Bottas is in 3rd, Rosberg is in 4th, and Lewis Hamilton is way down in 8th. Meaning if Hamilton wants a real shot at the championship title today, he's probably gonna have the drive of his life. Anyway, we are getting ready for the start here. Rosberg is on our left. Bottas is immediately ahead of us. And we have the outside line heading into turn 1, which can definitely be difficult to deal with. And Bottas has a strange start there. I'm not sure what that turn was all about. Massa has a great start, dives down the inside of us, overtaking both Rosberg and us. And we managed to squeeze through both the Williams cars in turn 1 here. And Ricciardo breaks very early into turn 2, and we are up to 2nd position here behind Sebastian Vettel. And that is definitely a positive. I did not expect us to have this great a start as we did here, but well, to be perfectly honest, I don't think we had the greatest start. I just think everybody else had a really poor start. However, the situation coming out here on the long DRS straight is that Vettel is in front, we are in 2nd, Ricciardo is in 3rd, and I would assume the 2 Williams are running 4th and 5th right now. And the way Vettel is going right now, I kind of doubt we'll be able to stick with him close enough to get the benefit of DRS on lap 3, because he is definitely moving on that straight. Just losing the back end coming out of the chicane here, and Vettel takes off into the distance. And as expected here, the Red Bull is definitely pulling away from us here on the long straights. We might be able to make up a little ground here in the twisty-turny part, which is Sector 3 on this track. But on the long straights, unless we can get close enough to get the benefit of DRS, I don't see us catching that Red Bull. And while we're talking about Red Bulls, we shouldn't forget that we have one directly behind us as well. And running wide as we do right here is definitely not going to help keeping him behind us there. And I got a feeling that Ricciardo is going to be putting us under all sorts of pressure here coming up on the long straights. Unless we can open up a bit of a gap down to him, he's going to have, maybe not on this lap, he's not going to have DRS, but he's going to have the slipstream effect, which is definitely going to help him. But he doesn't need that. He has a much better engine, so just hanging on to 2nd place here is probably going to be very difficult here in the early goings. And skipping ahead to lap 3, we have actually managed to close the gap on Vettel here just a little bit. And seeing as DRS is now enabled, we might have a chance to stick with him here on the long straight. And as a matter of fact, we're doing much better than that. I'm not sure what Vettel's trying to do there, whether he's trying to block us or something, but he just let us right through. And we are up to 1st position on lap 3 and the season finale at Abu Dhabi. And skipping right ahead to lap 5 here, we still have the 2 Red Bulls immediately behind us there. Vettel is in second, Ricciardo is in third. However, we do appear to have created a little bit of a gap down to number 4, who is Hamilton, meaning Rosberg must have dropped back, and Hamilton has made a very, very good start, or he's had a tremendous drive here in the first couple of laps, because he started 8th on the grid and is now up to 4th place. And just as I say that, Rosberg puts in the fastest lap of the race so far, meaning even if he has dropped down a little bit, he's certainly not lost his pace. And also here on lap 6, we have actually managed to create a little bit of a gap down to Sebastian Vettel and Daniel Ricciardo, who seem to be forming a bit of a line behind us right now. So it would appear that the 2 Red Bulls are either in fuel conservation mode here from the get-go, or perhaps started the race on the prime tire, but then again, so did we. All I know is at the moment we are creating a gap, and that's a reason to be happy.
The car behind is running on the option tyre. They have the advantage. Be aware, we think the car behind is trying to save.
Jumping ahead to lap 12, both the Mercedes cars have overtaken Daniel Ricciardo and Sebastian Vettel. I mean, we now have Hamilton and Rosberg running immediately behind us. And those boys are going fast. They closed that gap in just a matter of laps as soon as they managed to get by the Red Bulls there. So they both definitely brought their race pace here to the season finale. Skipping ahead to lap 18, the situation is now this, that Hamilton has gone into pit, but Rosberg is staying out for the moment and is still putting us under relative pressure, although he has dropped back just a little bit. Ricciardo is in third. We almost lose the car here coming out of the chicane, which could potentially hurt us down the long straight here. Jumping ahead to lap 20, both the Mercedes cars have been into pit now. We have Hamilton in second position and Rosberg immediately behind him, both about 17 seconds down on us. However, these prime tires are starting to go ever so slightly. It's a good thing that we'll be going into pit here supposedly on lap 21. However, these tires are definitely starting to hurt, and we decide to go in on this very lap. And starting out on the prime tire, we're going to be changing to a set of options here. Hopefully, we're going to be able to do a not so stressful middle stint, allowing us to save our tires just a little bit, giving us the chance to finish out the race on a set of options as well.
Watch out for traffic as you rejoin the track.
And we rejoin the race in 4th position behind Ricciardo, but managing to keep Vettel behind us here. And skipping ahead here to the end of the lap, we still have Rosberg and Hamilton fighting it out in front here. And coming up here on the finishing straight, we have debris everywhere and a Mercedes pretty much parked in the middle of things. Rosberg has taken some sort of damage, and it appears that Ricciardo is in the pit as well, so we advance another position. The question is, where is Hamilton? Is this Hamilton right up here? Yes, it is. Going very slowly indeed. He too must have taken some sort of damage, so it appears that Rosberg and Hamilton must have had an altercation there in the finishing straight, leaving them both with some significant damage. And that is absolutely the worst spot on any track to lose a wing or have a puncture. So on lap 23, the situation is this. We are in the lead of the race here. Ricciardo is about 5 seconds down on us, and an additional 3 seconds down is Sebastian Vettel. And skipping ahead here to lap 31, these option tires are serving us very well as we are increasing the gap to both Vettel and Ricciardo. Vettel has now overtaken Ricciardo behind us and is now running in second position, but he is not gaining on us, quite the opposite in fact. However, Hamilton has rejoined the race and is definitely lapping with some vengeance right now. Lap 37, our option tires are starting to go here ever so slightly, and Vettel is able to cut off a couple of seconds of the gap down to us. However, we still have a fairly comfortable lead of about 3.5 seconds. Ricciardo has dropped back and is about 10 seconds behind Vettel at the moment. jumping to lap 38, we come in for our second and last stop of the race, changing to another set of option tires that we are going to be finishing the race on. And provided that we don't get put under too much pressure here in the early goings, this should be possible, even though the tire wear on the first set of options here was quite extensive, especially near the end of the stint.
Watch out as you rejoin the track.
And as Vettel came in immediately after us to make his final stop, I assume, Ricciardo is, at least momentarily, into third position here, or at least until he makes his final stop. And jumping ahead to lap 42, the situation is this: we have Vettel chasing us, and he is coming down hard on us. Ricciardo is about 12 seconds back and is not closing on us in any way. So we are matching pace with Ricciardo at the moment, but Vettel is definitely going to be tough to hold back. He is closing on us, and he is closing fast. And this is really going to be bad news for our tire wear. I was hoping for a couple of easy laps here, maybe just to get some heat into the tires, but we are going to have to push right from the first lap, meaning we are most likely going to be experiencing some extreme tire wear near the end of the race. And even as we go purple here by almost a second in Sector 2, losing the back end there just a little bit, Vettel is still closing on us. And coming over the finishing line here, we go purple by almost 1.2 seconds here, and Vettel just stays with us. This is going to get difficult. Jumping to lap 47 here, the tires are already starting to show some wear. Coming up on a set of back markers there, we almost lose the back end coming through the turn, and Vettel is all over us at the moment. And if he ends up passing us now, it's going to be double bad luck, seeing as our DRS is offline at the moment. So it is absolutely imperative that we manage to keep him behind us at least until the DRS is back online. And on lap 51 here, we are still battling with Vettel. However, we are now experienced such bad tire wear that Ricciardo is starting to catch up on us as well, and is only 5 seconds back at the moment. And we still have another 4 laps to go. This is going to be most exciting right down to the wire. Skipping ahead here to lap 54, the tire wear has now gotten so bad we end up losing a car coming out of a turn. Vettel bumps into us from behind. We lose a bit of a front wing there, and Vettel moves up into first position on lap 54. And if that wasn't bad enough, we now have Ricciardo all over us from behind as well. Wow, this is like driving on skates. And just look at how much we must have held back Vettel there. He's at least 2 seconds ahead of us already. And although this ends up costing us the win, it is definitely nice to see the world champion back on form again. However, coming through turns 3 and 4 here, disaster strikes as we lose the front coming out of the turn. We end up spinning, hitting the barrier, and on lap 55, we are out of the race. And I'm not sure what happened there, to be perfectly honest. Perhaps the tire wear was so bad and the missing front wing kind of played a part there. Maybe the disappointment with losing first place had something to do with it. At any rate, Vettel takes the win, Ricciardo is in second, Massa takes third, and we end up in fourth even though we didn't finish the race. And as it appears that Nico Rosberg finishes ninth and Hamilton does not finish the race either, this means that Nico Rosberg is the new world champion ahead of Lewis Hamilton and Daniel Ricciardo in third. So, This turned out to be quite a season's finale. I think we went pretty much from the top of the skyscraper right to the basement near the end there. That was definitely a disappointment. I didn't expect this to be competitive in any way. However, when you end up leading the race with about 2 laps to go, you can't help but being disappointing if you didn't win, and it would have been nice to have a win just to close out the season. At any rate, guys, if you enjoyed this, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll be back soon with Season 2. Until then.